Hello, welcome to Flory Models daily vlog. Here we are on Monday the 8th of June 2015, and as you can see we have started. Yes, this is the Typhoon Monster. To be honest, it's more parts than I thought. I don't know why. I've reviewed the kit and everything else and I got it all out and I'm like, right, here we go. Initial impressions. Yeah, it's Airfix, which means it's getting better, but it's not as good as our last Airfix build, which I just grabbed, which was the Hurricane, which is just before we went away on holiday. This kit was absolutely brilliant. Very hard to find faults with it. It went together very, very well. Just the usual thing with Airfix, i.e. a little bit of flash, a little bit of burring between the sprues and everything else. Then you come to something like this, okay, where because it's bigger, all the problems are bigger. So the biggest problem we got down here, things like, you know, we've got the wing spars here. The plastic's very soft, okay, which isn't a problem per se because it enables it to bend in more areas and all the rest of it, but it'd be nice if it's a little bit more crispier. The main trouble I'm having is things like we've got the framework I'm working on here, I'm cleaning it all up at the moment. The burring between the parts, i.e. when it's sandwiched, okay, and come away, that tiny join, they are huge. Okay, are you going to see them? It's all going to be internal. Probably not, but it's just annoying that they're there. I think they're going to cause some fit issues, and speaking to some of the guys, Steve and that, who've built this kit, they said watch out for it, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm spending a bit of time at the moment just getting a few of the parts, just getting ready to record part one really of this on. Well, this will be up later on in the week. But generally, I'm quite excited. Going along and I'm seeing some of the kit parts, and you're looking at some of these parts down here, you're initially thinking, oh, this is quite good, you know, I can work with it. The riveting detail is exquisite on this kit. I love the stress skin. It's still, you know, it's taken me back to when I reviewed it, spotted it straight off the bat, looking at it even more. Some of the stress skin on it is absolutely fantastic. Needless to say, we're going to be doing a little few extras to this one. I'm planning on doing it as if it's in a tied down engine run phase. That way we can have it with a motor. We have said motor, and the engine running with nice prop blur and all the rest of it, with all the engine exposed, because otherwise if you're going to do it with normally with the engine on, it'd be in flight or taking off or something, so you're not going to see it. So my plan is put an engine into it, we're going to have it running with the engine exposed as if it's doing an engine test run on the ground. That way we can have the guns exposed as well, perhaps no ammo in it, but certainly we can have the guns exposed and everything else. So it looks like they're doing an engine test on it whilst working on it and all the other bits and pieces. Kills all my little birds instantly, so we get a nice looking model with every bit I want to see on it. So if we wanted to, we could take some panels off to expose some of this framework on all those different little areas, because you can get away with it. If you're telling a story traditionally, okay, it's your model, but people are always going to pick up and say, oh, it wouldn't have that open if it was like this, and it wouldn't do that if it was running this way. I can get away with anything really. So this is it, going on with it. Usual little tip for you, remember, if you've got something where you've got a zillion sprues, and I don't know how many there are in total, but there seems to be a lot of them, I go along and this is sprue N, so I'll put a tab on it and it's got N. That way when I'm down here I can see I've got F, A, D, B, C, N and L without even looking. Okay, so they're just there, you can see them. It just makes finding the parts a lot easier. Unusual thing, Airfix way of doing it is a little bit, you know, haphazard for their numbering, so they do tend to be all over the place. But that way, if I've got sprue C and I'm looking for sprue B, I've got it in my hand and then I can just go through the numbers and find the parts. So it just saves a lot of time of like, which sprue is this and all the rest of it. So by giving yourself some nice tabs on here with what it is, it just makes finding the parts, getting them off the trees and everything else a lot simpler, faster than it would be. And then sometimes if you're limited for space, as I will be later on when we get going with the other Typhoon, then what we'll do is you can just stack them, and you know you've got A, so you can just find A in a stack and various things, and it can be a lot easier. So needless to say, I'm in the very early stages, so I'm cleaning up parts and everything else like that. I'm going to be recording after we finish doing my bit to you now and everything else like that. The other big thing is, and I did it all this morning, water mixable oil paints. Who knew? Yes, I've done a full-on test with them. I spent all morning, literally from 9 o'clock until around about 1, playing with these, just trying different things, seeing how they worked and all those things like it. The video for that will be up. If it's not up by the time you get this, it'll be very shortly afterwards. It's just that because obviously it's a 40-minute render and then it's got to be uploaded and then done its bit by YouTube, it might be a little bit after here, but it is going to be up today. So you can watch that. It's a standalone for members to watch it, and it's going to be in the usual areas. You'll find it in the tutorials section in the actual forum. It'll be linked down as well below here. You know, at the end of the day, I've spoken about it, I've tested it, I've had it out and open, I've used it as a pin wash, we've used it as a normal, you know, weathering wash, we've used it for a panel line wash. I can't fault it. It does do exactly the same as any oil paint. As I said though, my main thing is, unless you're thinking about a thing for speed, i.e., you know, if speed is an issue and you know, got this type of thing where you just want to rattle on, then there's no real difference between this and my traditional oils that I normally use, okay? It works exactly the same way. There is no difference. My only thing I found is a preferred way of using this is either with a little bit of flow enhancer or a flow improver, or certainly to make up your own, a little bit of washing up liquid and water. About 75% water, 25% washing up liquid works well as a thinner for this stuff to go through. I found airbrush cleaner and all the other bits and pieces don't work exactly brilliantly and give me the results I get perhaps with oil, okay? But certainly from my point of view, it was a great success. It doesn't mean I'm going to be rushing out and get rid of all my oils and binning them, because it does exactly the same thing. So it's basically replacing one product with another. That said though, I can see the positives, the speed, it dries a lot quicker, you don't have that tackiness when you're holding it afterwards, things like that. So whereas oils, perhaps you're allowing 72 hours for it to dry, a week properly, this stuff you leave in, I don't know, perhaps 6 hours and it'll be dry and totally to cure, you know, 24 hours and you'll be good to go. As I said, I don't think it's a game changer. I think it's just a different way of actually using it. That said, it's all out of the way now. The Scout Walker's all completely finished and everything else like that. If I'd used it on that, I wouldn't have had a problem. So, you know, but then we all now know it's bandized plastic, not that. Loads of you have asked about the thinners and everything else like that. I've spoken to a lot of my colleagues in the industry who are professional modelers around the world, spoken to them about it when I had a good old rant, quite frankly. The general consensus opinion coming back is bandized plastic doesn't like any type of enamel, any type of, you know, cellulose thinners, doesn't particularly like enamel paints, and certainly doesn't like lacquer paints, okay? And obviously they're in the know, I wasn't, and they said you shouldn't have used it really, stick with acrylics every time, you'll be fine with it. Apparently it's just the way Bandai is. Is it because it's push fit and all the rest of it, some of you are mentioning? I don't know. I think it may be just the plastic they use. You know, I don't think they've thought that far ahead, because I know normal plastics just grip and go together well. The ABS plastics, I know some of you have mentioned, do have problems with lacquer paints and stuff like that. I think it is a hybrid plastic that they actually use, and that's the trouble. But needless to say, we're back to normal styrene now and everything else. So with this one, I've got planning on weathering it, chipping it, giving it some dents and, you know, some bruises literally all over this model. So we are going to be doing things, and chances are I'll use my water-mixable ones just to see how they work on a proper model, really. So it'd be nice to sort of see. If it doesn't work as well, I'll switch back to oils or ink washes or standard sort of acrylic washes or clay washes, things like that. There's plenty in the repertoire to use of other bits and pieces like that. So that's about it for today. As I say, the next part of the Scout Walker is up, part 2, that is up now. I'm going to put up part 3 tomorrow, and then you're going to get part 4 maybe next week. It might go up Wednesday if I haven't got enough edited ready to go this week, but I'm going to have something for you every day this week, right the way up till Friday. Okay, so there's plenty of videos to go up there, because the Scout Walker is a 5-parter. I've just finished editing it and that's all good to go now, but hopefully I'll get part 1 of this up to you by Wednesday, and then obviously we'll be making our way through. I'm going to get this one done a bit ahead. I want to get like a couple of parts into this one, and then we're going to get going with the other Typhoon, which is obviously we're doing the Revel 132nd Eurofighter Typhoon, or the EF 2000 kit, and we're going to be working with that one, which is going to be an in-flight display, and it's going to be LED lit. So whilst this one's going to be motorized with a propeller, the next one's going to be full LED lighting with it as well, and we're going to light up the cockpit, the navigation, and hopefully give it some engines as well, things like that. So pretty exciting times to come. So that's it for today. Happy modelling. Take care.